This episode of the Extreme Ag Show is presented by Concept AgriTek.
Cowboy is the game changer, getting it in through the leaves and into the plant circulatory system. That's why this product is so effective at delivering both calcium and boron to plants at critical times when they need it the most.
From farm fields to futuristic machines, tractors are increasingly high-tech. Today, Kelly and Temple visit the Fendt factory in Jackson, Minnesota to uncover the secrets behind this farm workhorse.
We got a lot to show you guys, so this is just the beginning. Why don't we go ahead and walk in and we'll show you what's inside this facility. Well, welcome to Fendt Lodge, guys. This is it. This is what we just opened up in May 1st. So
holy cow.
You're actually some of the first crew to actually see this facility. We want all our farmers and dealers to learn a lot about the Fendt brand and actually drive the equipment. We got simulators here too to be able to learn how to operate the equipment.
That should be good for you because you need training. You don't spend a lot of time in cabs and stuff. I'll show you where the key is.
You show me where the key is? I appreciate that.
Hey, we're just getting started. I'd like to show you guys upstairs. This is kind of our playground.
We can have there. Temple and I can have a competition as long as it's not athletic.
Yes.
Because Temple needs a wheelchair.
Well, we're gonna have a friendly competition back over here at the buck hunter game. Let's go take a look.
Now, I know you don't understand. This is like a sight. You got to put your head down on the gun and like look through it.
I'm going to shoot from the hip.
Struggle. Oh, so you're going to do like straight cowboy stuff.
Yeah.
Where's my glasses?
He didn't even know there was a mountain lion coming.
This thing is completely rigged. You better, I'm going to give you the benefit of that. Go with something that looks like Iowa. You missed again. What are you doing? Get the rabbit.
You got to shoot too.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to shoot too?
Yeah.
I thought that thing's dead.
Let's start blasting.
I'm still at 0.
You haven't hit anything. You shot 11.
Double.
I shot 22.
Wow.
This is
So 5,200 by. So I have 10 times the points you have.
It's kind of like you in farming too. Does it mean that I'm out of shape when I'm sweating a little bit?
You're sweating from a video game.
We designed this whole showroom around the logo itself. Our logo stands for Earth Meet in the Sky and that horizon where life comes together. We'll go ahead and take a look downstairs at some of the cool assets that we got inside.
It is a really impressive facility.
So this is where all the magic happens. We're really kind of starting at the very beginning of the birth of the track tractors. So you'll notice this station here, our technician, he's starting to marry up the front part to the transmission casing. Okay, this is the front part is where the engine housing will bolt in. So he's prepping this area. There's two really big torque methods. So he'll do one with the big arm you see here is the DC torque tool. Okay. This is electronic. It actually torques up to 1,600 Newton meters of torque, which is a lot. And it knows whatever socket you put on there will tell it electronically based on the serial number of that machine what the torque needs to be. Now this first Lego piece, we're going to show you all the Lego pieces, how they start to stack up and some of the quality that goes in behind of making sure this comes to your farm the right way so you get the least amount of downtime possible on your farm.
That's important. I mean, downtime costs us a lot of money. A lot of money.
So we're standing here now in front of the next phase of the building process. What we got going on behind us here is the plumbing of all the hydraulics. So you're seeing the foundation of those components being added on to the transaxle. On the front end, that lighter gray part that you see, that's where the engine sits inside. And on these track tractors, we have man engines that cover from 380 horsepower up to 670 horsepower. So we got a wide variety here, but this is a key station before we go into the next big equation of the puzzle.
Why we figured
The other day he sent us a video and he was covered in hydraulic oil.
And that's exactly what I was doing.
And I think he dumped oil on the ground and rolled around it.
I felt like it.
So what do you guys notice on some of the clothing that a lot of our workers are wearing?
I notice on the back of almost every shirt it says Farmer First.
What do you think that means?
They have us in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the message from our CEO all the way through our whole organization is how to be farmer first. Everything that goes into little details of the parts are built in mind as somebody that cares.
There's another thing that I noticed in the agriculture world. We're notorious for thinking that it's a men's game.
Male dominated.
And it's not here. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of women on the floor doing these jobs. I just really respect that when you walk into this and you see that.
So we talked a lot about criticality, right? So what we're doing here is we're turning the beast on. So we've added all the components on, electronics, all the fluids, the liquids, over 1,000-point check in here. And what we do at the end is we put in a special dye and we're able to check with a black light if that dye comes out anywhere to check for any leaks.
1,000 points.
Last check, we're gonna hit the beauty phase. This is where the smiles turn on and customers can come here to drive the machines off for the first time.
You'd have to have one of your guys do that for you.
Richie would do it.
Yeah, you'd never be able to do it.
So guys, this is the grand finale. So what you're seeing here is the culmination now of all that assembly work going in to the final product behind us. So this is a finished product, but it doesn't mean that we're done with all of our tests and measurements. So what we do after the final product is ready, we put it in the dyno bay. We're gonna shake it up, make sure there's no loose bolts or hardware. And then we finalize it with a roller test simulating load in the field. So we strap physical cables on the back end and the front end. We have these huge rollers and we drive it. And we try to maintain that level every single machine.
Yeah, this has been a very impressive tour. The efficiency that we saw, the women in the workforce here working, the farmer first mentality for the service, the ergonomics, I always find that to be fascinating when you're trying to get more and more efficient all the time. That was something that, you know, maybe a generation or two ago wasn't paid as much attention to as it is now.
This was super impressive. I'm impressed with like the whole operation, but I think I'm the most impressed with the people. I like the way that people kind of get along here. You've got a really good environment. It's pretty cool to see this. You don't see this everywhere.
So guys, I got something really cool to show you. This is the Fendt Rogator Simulator.
You can't make it 5 feet. Well, we got almost 2 feet. Look at those streaks you left on the streaks on the road.
That's where I spun out because I hit the stop sign.
Amino Grow is an exciting new product put out by Concept AgriTek. What we've seen is an increase in fruiting sites as well as branching, and this has equated to yield.
Spot less. Introducing the cleanup for tar spot, gray leaf spot, southern rust, and more. Novel next generation Adastrio fungicide from FMC broadens your spectrum and strengthens your residual foliar disease control. Protect your cornfields with a proprietary combination of 3 modes of action. Visit your FMC retailer or at astrio.ag.fmc.com to clean up this season.
In the heart of harvest, victory awaits. Introducing Demco's high-speed, all-wheel steer, combine header transport trailers. Crafted for strength, engineered for speed. Demco, tailored for victory.
Some farmers I know swear by a name, say they'd never operate anything else. Well, here are a few names for my Fendt 900 tractor. Fuel Saver, Time Maximizer, Game Changer. I like those names.
BioHealth is a product by Concept AgriTek made up of a consortium of beneficial biology that actually colonize the plant and boost the plant's immune system from the inside.
So guys, I got something really cool to show you. This is the Fendt Rogator Simulator. And This is like learning how to operate on steroids before you go out to the field. So this is a high-tech device, learning how to train, which is one of our 3 pillars of this whole facility. But I want you guys to arm wrestle who's going to get in the driver's
There's
seat
no
of this
arm
thing.
wrestling. I'm going to give up my position because I really want to see Kelly to get in a piece of equipment because he's the one that actually needs training. He doesn't know where the key is, how to start them up, anything. So this is going to be rough on you to have to walk somebody like that through this system. I mean, maybe there's an office somewhere that he could go sit around and make money in, but this is really not his forte. So he needs the training.
Are you done?
I am done now.
Are you done now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm done.
Kelly, we'll have you go ahead and get in the driver's seat. So what we're gonna do is a demo mode, and you know, hey, he must know how to drive. He's already putting his seatbelt on.
Have you ever ridden with him? You need a seatbelt.
I'm impressed.
That's the only seatbelt that he has in his operation that works because his dog Molly
I should have
chews off
buckled it
most
up
of them.
ahead of time so I didn't have to
Do you
use
think
it.
he knew, or he practiced this before already? So
Oh,
you're
we gotta
gonna
have to hit the
This
tree
is
now.
really good. The training
Where's
part
the-
is awesome because
okay.
I'm not sure you have good enough insurance for him to drive a real one.
He's finding the switches and the buttons. I'm so impressed.
He watched somebody earlier when we weren't paying attention do this.
He actually stopped.
We're not going. Oh, I gotta hold that.
Oh, you gotta press. There you go. Take a right. Take a right. Take a hard right.
Just drive through the trees. It's
Just
fine.
drive through the tree. Oh, there's a stop sign. Oh, I hit the stop sign.
He bent the boom now, Temple. He can't spray.
You can't make it 5 feet. Well, we got almost 2 feet. Look at those streaks you left on the. You left streaks on the road.
Because I hit the stop sign.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
That's Kelly coming in hot. Perfect. That's exactly the way he drives.
I'm trying to be technical.
It's on its side right now.
Son of a gun! I gotta start all over.
Sign, and you flipped it over on its side.
I did. Flipped it. I flipped it on its side. Son of a.
The good news is you know what to do now.
Now, just imagine, first thing you're going to learn about track tracker is keep your hand off steering wheel.
Keep your hand off the steering wheel?
Put your hand right there. That's what it's made for. Now, the more that you shove it forward, the faster you're going to go.
Yep.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You overcorrect by having that. When it's down there, you can't overcorrect it. It's a big difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I figured it out. I was looking forward to do that today. I thought maybe we'd get in here, you wouldn't know where the key switch was. That was the one thing I was looking forward to, just to rag on you. That, hey, look, you couldn't drive it, but I think I figured, you went home, you researched it, you got on YouTube, figured it out, so you wouldn't look like an idiot in the track. You're learning well.
Well, I appreciate that, but I watched Richie run that simulator on the sprayer, so I knew where some of the buttons were.
And they're all very similar.
Yeah, they're
When
similar.
you first get into these, it's a little overwhelming.
Oh yeah, that's a computer in here.
Yeah. Oh, you did great. Push neutral.
Neutral.
Yep. And hit
Parking.
park. Yep.
Parks parking brake.
And then that's it. You figured it
Well,
out.
this is a great day. I'm glad
It
you
is
came.
a good day.
It's a good
We had
day.
a fantastic day. I want to run the combine next. I don't know if they'll let me or not.
I don't know.
I'm going to be honest with you. The simulator was probably the most fun I had.
The big buck hunter and the simulator.
Yeah, but
were
you
your
only
two.
like the big buck hunter because you won. This thing is completely rigged. Is everything rigged for you win everything? Is that how this works? I like the simulator because you flipped over the sprayer immediately.
Yeah, I did. I appreciated that too.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a stop sign. Oh, I hit the stop sign.
Well, let's go see what they got for us next.
All right.
All right.
Let's go.
I tell you, maybe this is the future, because the future is, the next generation is a bunch of gamers. I feel like a gamer.
We capped off a good day today.
We did. We had, we capped it off. I got to run a tractor with Kelly and teach Kelly how to run a Fendt tractor, which I thought that he would never get, honestly. He obviously YouTubed it or something and did some training ahead of time because he knew where everything was. And I'm like, there's no way he just did that because he's not the tractor guy.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
And I'm like, man, I thought I had him, but I didn't have him. But, we got to see the tractors being built. We got to meet some great people, and we got to meet your family at Fendt. And it's been incredible. This is an incredible journey, and I'm so glad that you invited us out, that we got to see this.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. I love that slogan, meet your family at Fent. We're going to use that.
So thanks so much for everything that you've done.
Hey,
and your family at
Temple,
Fent has
thanks
been
a
great
lot,
to
man.
us.
We really appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
Safe
So much.
travels. All right?
I appreciate it.
Adding Raytheon into your in-fur application, or even an over-the-top application around V3, V4, can do wonders in helping that plant navigate tough soil conditions as far as nutrient tie-up is concerned.
Control the toughest weeds with overlapping residuals. Lock in the longest-lasting control for your soybean fields. Authority brand herbicides, such as Authority Edge herbicide and Authority Supreme herbicide, combine the industry's most effective Group 14 and 15 active ingredients for a clean start and long-lasting residual control. Following up 14 to 28 days later with a post-application of Anthem Max herbicide through V6 establishes a heavy-duty, economical, overlapping residual program.
Claims are good and all, but I'm more interested in results. My Fent Momentum planter delivers them. The only planter with automatic tire pressure adjustments, weight transfer across its frame, and inline center tandem wheels that eliminate pinch rows. It's just another way I know Fent's got my bottom line top of mind.
Introducing Demco's newest dual auger grain cart design. Now equipped with the front folding auger and available in right side or left side unload options. Featuring Demco's corner auger design for optimal visibility. With a 22-inch vertical auger, unload at speeds of 600 bushels per minute. Demco. Outpace harvest time every time.
Sweet Success has been in the product lineup of Concept AgriTek for a while. We've seen it do a lot of things that you wouldn't think a blackstrap molasses product would do. Anytime you can increase the bricks content of your plant, the more healthy it's going to be.
For Matt and his buddy Mike, there's gold in poop. More specifically, chicken poop. You see, between the two of them, they've managed to turn chicken litter into dollars.
Here in the Delta, our soils are so much different than a lot of other people. They're really sandy. There's no really good organic matter. We're looking at maybe 1% organic matter versus a guy with 6 or 7 in another area. So you got to do what you can do to do the best with what you got. So you work with the tools you have. To be able to do that, you've got to know what's in that soil. So the first thing we do after the combines come through is we pull soil samples. We used to pull maybe 4 soil samples in 40 acres. You know, mix them together, send it in, and you've got one composite sample. Today we pull 4 cores every acre. 10 years ago, you know, when we pulled up to that acre, we'd have to get out and manually pull 5 probes. Today we have a machine that bolts on the side of our ATV that actually has an auger and a cup. Kevin Matthews says a lot, you know, we're not managing acres, we're managing plants. It's the same scenario as managing the plants that Kevin talks about. We're managing the acre of soil. So each one of those acres, if you've got a 100-acre field, then you've got 100 different samples in that field. So, you know, it's a lot of volume to it, but in the end, we feel like it pays results. You have to have that base to know what you're working with for the next year. It's back to the foundation. So you've got the soil as your foundation, then you plant. You know, then you have a plant, then you're managing the soil plus the plant, and then you go into harvest. So it's a step process, but the first step always is to know what your soil needs. Prime example, if I'm low in calcium, none of my other nutrients are going to work because calcium is what makes the other nutrients work. So if you don't know you're low in calcium, you can put all the phosphorus and potassium out you want, it's not going to do any good because it will not allow it to get into the plant. So there's so many things that you've got, variables that you've got to look at, but you've got to start with the base. One thing I'm really proud of we do is we use poultry litter. It's organic, it's sustainable, it's a byproduct of another agriculture practice that we're able to use and use dearly. We love it. Anytime you can use a byproduct as a main product, I mean, that's a win-win situation for the poultry grower, the beef grower, the hog grower, and it's a win-win situation for the row crop farmer. So I grow corn. I take the corn to the chicken feeder. The mill grinds the corn, the mill makes chicken feed. The chicken feed is then taken to the chicken and he eats it. When he gets through eating it, he poops it. After he poops it, I get it and take it back to the field where the corn comes from. If you really want to think about it, it's absolutely the circle of life. So we're taking what they eat and then what they poop, and then we're putting it back in the field to grow what they eat again.
And there's 2 or 3 other farmers in this area that have adopted the same program. They've kind of piggybacked on what Matt's done, and they have realized ginormous gains and yield increases, and I mean, it works. But we put we'll put 16,000 tons on your farm this year, and as soon as you're through with harvest, you'll start working your fields and you're not gonna have to wait.
We know from last year's soil samples that we how much phosphorus we have in our soil. If I'm above a certain number, I put out 1 ton of litter. If I'm below a certain number, I put out 2 tons of litter. So combine, soil sample, litter. We take the analysis from the soil, we subtract the analysis from the litter. All the poultry litter has samples pulled, they analyze the litter, and they tell us what nutrients are in there at what amount. I know if I produce an 80 bushel crop, I can go to a chart and find out how much nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium I use to produce that crop. So I know that I can subtract the amount of fertility it took to make that yield from that sample. Then I can add back the analysis of the litter that I applied, and then I know what I've got to have after the litter. We're actually being able to do more things naturally, not use as much synthetic fertilizer, be better for the environment, and increase yields at the same time.
Go long for season-long foliar disease protection that starts at plant. Active ingredient flutriafol moves through your corn plants as they grow for inside-out protection from roots to tassel. A single at-plant application provides comparable performance in corn yield protection to that of VTR1 foliar fungicides against diseases like gray leaf spot, northern corn leaf blight, common rust, and more.
Some farmers I know swear by a name, say they'd never operate anything else. Well, here are a few names for my Fendt 900 tractor. Fuel Saver, Time Maximizer, Game Changer. I like those names.
By now you've heard about GMOs and you've probably already got an opinion. Take a little agricultural perspective here from the guys at XtremeAg. Genetically modified organisms, or sometimes called genetically engineered food crops. A list of a dozen or even a dozen and a half crops are now registered or approved to be genetically engineered.
So the term GMO gets thrown around a lot, and it's usually more specifically aimed at something that's genetic engineered. Really, this right here is genetically modified for the last 10,000 years. Humans have always been genetically modifying crops to fit their certain purposes and to take the biggest and best seeds and grow them again. But there's a lot of concern around genetic engineering.
one of the reasons we can't keep our seed is, you know, these seed companies spend millions of dollars on research and figuring out the safest way to actually genetically modify these plants. And, you know, don't let that scare you, because what they're doing is they're actually instilling genes into these plants that are resistant or defenders of certain insects. So what would you rather have? A cotton plant that you don't spray with any insecticides or pesticides, or one that is not genetically modified and you have to spray it twice a week, you know, with some of these products? So it's really a cool deal. There's a misconception about, you know, genetically modified crops, that they're all unsafe.
People think it's unnatural, or which it's definitely a human intervention, but like I said, we've been human intervening in agriculture since we started it. What they do is they go into the DNA and they can change things around to insert different traits that are deemed desirable.
Scientists in a lab bred certain traits from a different organism into, say, corn or soybeans, thereby making that crop resistant to certain things, cutworm or various other diseases. It allows the farmer to then reduce usage of chemistry or insecticides or pesticides and still get a good crop.
The main thing that GMOs have really done that's been good for the environment is they've allowed a lot of insect defensive traits to be pushed in, and insecticide use went down for the first time in decades after some of these were introduced. Corn rootworm used to be a huge problem, and you'd have to rotate out of corn pretty often, and the bugs would evolve with that, and it was always a struggle. And in this part of the state, one of the biggest corn producing parts of Iowa, parts of the country, we really don't have that problem as much anymore. We've been able to deal with these pests effectively without applying a lot of insecticides. And I think that's a environmental win in and of itself. Some of the ways we've been able to battle insects using genetic technology rather than chemical.
GMOs actually allow us to use less chemical, less herbicide, and reduce tillage, which is a good thing for the environment. I'm not here to tell you to change your mind. I just think the important thing is that everybody understand what GMOs really are and why they are used in commercial agriculture.
I think it's basically become a marketing term, right? People see GMO free and they think that that food is more natural somehow. But in reality, these GMO free farms are using chemicals just the same way. They're just using different things that are being more approved because it's perceived to be from a more natural source. There are chemicals applied to every farm acre in America almost, besides your backyard garden.
What we're doing with genetically modified crops is actually making it safer, even if it's food, if it's fiber. What's genetically modified is more of the feed rations that go into your, animal feeds. And then cotton is genetically modified also to warn off the plant bugs, the boll weevils, the bollworm. If we've got to go out there and spray for worms all the time, that's a lot more unsafe, I would think, in my opinion, than having the plant say, no, I'm not gonna let you in here. I'm not gonna let you hurt my bolls. I've got a gene in here that'll keep that from happening. So don't get hung up on genetically modified. Go learn about it, go understand it before you develop an opinion on it, because what you read on Facebook is not always true.
It changes everything, so says Indiana corn grower Nathan Davis about innovative Xyway LFR fungicide from FMC. Xyway brand fungicides are the first and only at-plant corn fungicides to provide unprecedented season-long inside-out foliar disease protection.
Precision is understanding the potential hidden within. Decoding the specific nutritional needs of your crop. Maximizing every nutrient and getting the most out of your yield. We break down the science in a way that works for your crops and for you. Apply less and expect more with Precision Crop Nutrition from Agro Liquid.
In the heart of harvest, victory awaits. Introducing Demco's high-speed, all-wheel steer combine header transport trailers. Crafted for strength, engineered for speed. Demco, tailored for victory.
So we're gonna talk about oxygen and what I've seen with oxygen as a farmer, and it'll look a lot of times like almost like drought stress. You take it, let's say early season oxygen, and it's real harsh when I've no-till before, when you no-till through a swag and you get 2 or 3 rains, the corn gets 6-8 inches tall, and man, it's rolled up because it just can't get any air. It used to be in the old times, every rain, and Dad would have to go out there and we'd cultivate a field, and the corn would never look any better after you cultivate. You put that air back in the ground. So it's something to that, So for me, in a lot of cases, it's the strip till has helped me to create that oxygen. It gives that drying zone and a zone that you can get air down into around that seedling as it starts to grow.
Taking CO2 from the air, converting it out, pulling the carbon and the oxygen apart, and getting that carbon piece for the energy cycle in the plant. Really, the oxygen is just a byproduct of that process, and the plant really doesn't use a whole lot. It converts that CO2 into oxygen, so it's a very important process, very important nutrient that plant deals with. The other thing is too, just not within plants, but in the soil, oxygen is the most abundant nutrient in the soil as well. So it's important in the soil for airspace, for the microbial life in the soil as that process of mineralizing nutrients and stuff for the plant. Oxygen is very important there. If your soil gets too tight, gets too bound up, that's lack of oxygen. So there's really negative effects of that. So some people use tillage to offset that. Some people use other means to get better oxygen abundance in the soil. So it is a key. It's, I think, roughly around 45% of what the plant is made of. But it's really just a byproduct of all the processes within the plant.
So when we're doing strip till, we're almost like, in essence, creating it where it can get air around that plant. When we're strip tilling in the fall, and there's several months that go by, before you plant, but it's got a seed bed of 6-8 inches, 8 inches wide, 6-8 inches deep. That is loose ground, that is not compacted. And so therefore it'll make it to where, it's easier to get oxygen in and around the root zone where it's needed.
What can happen with an overabundance, like in an irrigation scenario, you get too much oxygen in the soil, can over-oxygenate it, cause, everything to go dormant because there's too much oxygen, it can't process it right. So it can be a negative effect in too much abundance, so it's kind of a balancing act there as well. When we irrigate with water and stuff, especially in the drip world, not oversaturating the soil and really shutting down a lot of systems. And you get that with like flooding events, big rains in these flatlands, not here, but go eastern Iowa, even Matt down in the Delta, you get all that water on top of the soil. It could really just be a detriment to the soil biology. So there's a balancing act with oxygen, keeping it balanced out.
And you see it in the bottoms as well. When I say it looks like it's drought stress, it'll roll up when it can't get air, and it'll have water on it because of lack of oxygen. So oxygen is very important, and I don't think us as farmers, we want to talk about fertility and everything else, but we don't always ever understand the power of oxygen. I'd like to do some trials on figuring out how to put oxygen back into the soil and oxygen of the plant. There's things they do with putting oxygenating water, as well. So there's a lot of things to go from, but oxygen is a major player, in the whole development of a corn plant or any plants for that matter.
So it's not an essential nutrient. We don't apply it like potassium or phosphorus, but it is very important in the plant's life cycle as a byproduct of a bunch of energy processes that the plant needs to go through to raise yields or grow during vegetative stage or reproductive form. So it's very important. It's important for us as humans, as we need oxygen to breathe. The plants give us that as they convert CO2 or carbon dioxide into oxygen.